Hello friends, and welcome to a new episode in this series called Mastering the Art of Automation Testing. In this episode we will set up the environment so we can be ready to dive into actual part of automation. So let's see what we need to be able to do some automation testing with Playwright. I have this slide that will list what we need, and the most important things are Playwright, obviously. Node.js, because Playwright itself is built on Node.js. Basically, even if you want to write test scripts in Java or maybe C#, under the hood, Playwright uses Node.js to interact with the browser. This means Node.js is required to run Playwright server that your code will communicate with. And besides that, we need some sort of integrated development environment or IDE. Basically, an IDE is an application that facilitates software development. You can say it's some sort of a bundle of features that include the code editor, debugging, features to automate the process of compiling, linking, deploying your code, etc. In this series, we'll use Visual Studio Code for that. And these are the basics. Besides that, you'll need to have some modern web browser installed. Git will be installed with the IDE and some IDE plugins that I'll cover later on. Let's start with the IDE. In our case, it's Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code, commonly known as VS Code, was launched in 2015 and offers a lightweight yet powerful environment that supports a wide range of programming languages. It is a free, open source code editor developed by Microsoft that has quickly become one of the most powerful tools among developers. VS Code is a cross-platform IDE, meaning that it can run on Windows, Mac OS, or Linux. VS Code is highly extensible with a vast library of extensions available through the Visual Studio Code marketplace. These extensions add functionality such as language support, debuggers, and tools for various frameworks and technologies. The editor comes with an integrated terminal and built-in Git support, enabling developers to manage version control directly within the editor. VS Code also offers a robust debugging capability, making it easier to identify and fix issues in the code. Additionally, features like IntelliSense provide intelligent code completion, real-time syntax highlighting, and error detection. This significantly improves the coding experience. Now let's start installing Visual Studio Code. Open up your browser and type in Visual Studio Code. Now in the search results, look for the visualstudio.com link and hit the download button. And here you'll find multiple options depending on your operating system. In our case it's Windows, so let's hit download. We'll wait for the download to finish, and after that you can click on it. This will pop up the installation window, so we can hit I accept, hit next. Here you have some options depending on your preferences, but I highly suggest that you leave those as they are. And basically you're ready to install. Hit install, and now the installation process has begun. At the end, if you have this checkmark here, once you press finish, Visual Studio Code will launch. And this is with the installation of Visual Studio Code. Now you can close this window for the moment. Next thing on our list is Node.js. So what exactly is Node.js? We'll not dive into many details, but here are the basics. Node.js is an open source, cross-platform JavaScript runtime environment that executes JavaScript code outside of the web browser. Node.js is a very popular lightweight web framework, and it is used by many big companies such as Netflix, Uber. Basically, allows us to use JavaScript everywhere, meaning on operating systems like macOS, Linux, or Windows, and on any browsers, meaning Chrome, Firefox, or maybe Safari. When we say everywhere, we mean the front end, middleware, and back end. It allows JavaScript code to be run outside of a web browser using Chrome's V8 JavaScript engine for fast execution. When we think of JavaScript, our mind tends to go to web development. Until Node.js came along, there was really no way to run JavaScript outside of a web browser. Another reason why Node.js is so widely adopted is its strong community and vast ecosystem of libraries available through the npm or Node Package Manager. Now, let's start installing Node.js. Get back to your preferred browser and open a new tab. Search for Node.js. Here, you can look for a download and install node. Here, as you can see, you have multiple options of installing Node.js, so we'll go to the pre-built installer and select the version that you need. In our case, it's version 20. Choose the operating system and the version for it. In our case, it's Windows and it's 64. So let's just hit download. Once the download is finished, just click on it and the installation process will begin. Click on Next. I accept. Next. Where do you want it to be installed? Hit Next. Hit Next again. Here it will ask you if you want Chocolatey to be installed in your system. Click on Automatically install all the necessary tools and click Next. Click on Install. Make sure you click on Yes when it asks you to allow the software to make changes to your device. Click on Finish. Now, because we clicked on Install Chocolatey and all the tools necessary, this command line interface window popped up. So we'll hit Enter, press any key again. The installation process is fairly smooth. Click on Yes to allow PowerShell to make changes to this device. Basically, it will install Chocolatey, Python, Visual Studio Code plugins, and the other dependencies that will allow us to basically use modules, node modules. All the installation process, it will take like 4 or 5 minutes maybe. And once you're done, you'll have Node installed with all the dependencies. At the end, you can see a list of all the installed tools and softwares, so you can just hit enter to exit. Now, let's start with Playwright. So, what exactly is Playwright? Playwright is an open source, cross-platform and cross-browser automation framework designed for testing web applications across multiple browsers. This ensures your web applications are thoroughly tested across different environments, delivering a consistent user experience. You can run your tests in headless mode for maximum performance, or in headful mode with a full UI for detailed visual testing. Another major advantage of Playwright is its support for multiple programming languages. Whether you prefer JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, maybe C# or Java, Playwright has you covered. The flexibility allows developers to write tests in the language that they are most comfortable with, streamlining the development process. Another big feature is the auto-wait mechanism, which is a game changer. It automatically waits for element to be actionable before performing interactions, reducing the need for explicit waits in your code. This makes your test scripts cleaner and more reliable. It also supports isolated browser context, which allows for parallel testing, significantly speeding up your testing execution. Other cool features are network interception and visual testing. You can mock and modify network requests during tests, which is perfect for simulating different scenarios and conditions. And it also supports taking screenshots and performing visual comparison, ensuring your UI looks as expected. Now, let's talk about some cons. It's important to note that Playwright has its challenges. The extensive feature set can be overwhelming for beginners, presenting a steep learning curve. It requires time and effort to master all the capabilities. Additionally, running multiple browser instances simultaneously can be resource intensive, which might impact your system's performance. Also, it can only be used for web applications, and it does not support testing on real devices, but rather by emulating the device. Let's begin with the installation process. Start by creating a folder for your project in your desired location. For me, this is desktop, so I right click, show more options, new folder. Let's call it automation. Once you have the folder created, right click on it, click on show more options if you have Windows 11, or just straight ahead click open with code. This will open the folder in Visual Studio Code. Alternatively, you can click on open folder, go to your desired location, click on it, and select folder. Basically, this is the folder that you opened. Here, press Ctrl J to open the terminal. Now, go to your browser and search for Playwright. The first result should be the playwright.dev website, and click on the installation. This page will give you instructions on how to install Playwright in different environments. In our case is through the Node Package Management or Manager, which is npm. So this is the command. You can select it or just click this copy command. Go back to your Visual Studio Code and paste that command in and hit enter. Basically, this will initialize a Playwright project, so it will ask you what language do you want to use. In our case, we'll use TypeScript. The next question is, where do you want to put the end-to-end tests? And the default value is the folder called tests, so hit enter. Do you want to add a GitHub action flow? In our case, we'll choose no, which is the default, and hit enter. Install Playwright browsers. This can be done manually using the command that is displayed there. We'll hit next. Now the installation process has begun, and as you can see, it's finished already. Now, if we look at the folder structure, you can see multiple folders and files. First of all, you'll have the Node modules, which are here. Next, you'll have the tests folder with a small example here. It will give you an example of, let's say, hello world test or something like that, and another folder with test examples. Obviously, these are just demo tests to make you familiar with the framework. Besides that, we'll have a package lock and a package.json, which we'll talk about them later on. And another file which is really important, it's the Playwright config. And playwright.config, as the name suggests, is a config file. Here you can adjust parameters for the Playwright. Maybe you want to trace on the first try, or never trace at all. Or maybe you want to run in headless mode. Basically, all of this can be done here. Another interesting thing is this section here, which allows you to create projects, basically defined by what you want to execute on which devices, but we'll talk about this one later on in the series. Now, going back to the Playwright website, in the installation page, let's scroll down a bit. What do we have here? It will tell you what's installed. Oh, there we go. Running the example tests. So, let's see. Let's copy this command and paste it here. Hit enter. What does it say here? Running 6 tests using 4 workers. As you can see, you have some numbers there. And there we go. You have 6 passed in 9.1 seconds. Congratulations on running your first Playwright tests. Now you can see here that it gives you some hints with another Playwright command. So let's copy this one. As you can see, it says show report, so it must be some sort of a report. Let's click on it, and there we go. We have a more in-depth report about our tests. If you click on it, you'll see the test steps with everything that it was executed. And there you have it. We've successfully set up our environment. We've installed Node.js, Visual Studio Code, and Playwright. We initialized the project, and we've run our first automation tests. Congratulations on that again. With everything up and running, we are now ready to start writing automation tests using Playwright. If you found this video helpful, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified about the new episodes in this series. Until then, happy coding and see you next time!